Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dantastic Monday here at the Damage Report and another Damage Pre-Port. I'm John DeRolla. Glad to have you here. A lot to talk about, including the next step in the impending conflict between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis that is going to just result in absolute hell. Now, I understand for some, getting too focused on this coming Republican primary nomination battle seems really premature. Why are we focusing on 2024? Which I get. Some of you might say, let them fight. It's two Republicans, let them hit each other. And sure, them hitting each other will probably do some good stuff. But bear in mind, the fight between them is going to have multiple facets. One will be attempting to destroy the other in the eyes of the voters, but they are going to have to compete with each other. Now, think about how progressives might compete with each other, what they would do to assure the base that they're as progressive as possible. Okay, now imagine what Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump are going to do. Think about what they're going to say, what positions they're going to take to prove to the base that they're the most horrific. So it's going to be pretty rough. And the war is proceeding. I'm going to give you the details on that. We do have a few other little stories to talk about. We're going to start off with this. National average gas prices pretty much consistent from yesterday. We remain down like about 9 cents from a week ago. Would love to see that dip below 3.50, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. Pretty consistent, which is good when I was ready for it to shoot above $4 again. Anyway, I mean, I'm paying way more here, by the way. I think I'm paying like $5.75 or something, which is just great. And would love to buy an electric car, but they're still too expensive. I would love for those subsidies to come back. Anyway, COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths pretty consistent. Now, here is the bad news when it comes to that. It's not the numbers, it's the rate of change. Hospitalizations basically flat. Patients in ICU are flat. Deaths going towards flat. And even case drops starting to level off there too. So bear in mind, we're about to launch into November. November is when the COVID increases start. We're going to have the holidays, and with the combination of Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's why we have dark winters. And so if you have not already gotten the booster, please get the booster. It is not a perfect answer, a perfect defense, but it's the defense that we have. Start considering maybe a little bit of social distancing. I know most people are done with that. I know most people are not going to put on the masks, but the risk is going to return. And we're going to be tracking it day by day. You will see. You will see. Maybe I'll be wrong. And if I'm wrong, we're going to find out, okay? Because we cover this every day. Yes, Riellen, I am wearing the I Wish a Karen Would shirt, which is available at Shop TYT. Indisputable, of course, comes up every day right after our program. The watch list is going to be going live in just a few other bits of news. Here's one. Gavin Newsom says that if reelected in November to be the governor of California, he will serve out his 4-year term. That is a promise that if he gets reelected, which I assume he would, he will not be running in 2024, regardless of whether Biden runs or not. And that is a promise that you can take to the garbage because it means absolutely fucking nothing. Think about that. He promises, and then 2 years later, what, he's going to be like, oh man, I really want to run, but I promised 2 years ago. Who the fuck cares what he promised? I mean, like, it would be great to be able to care what he promises, but there is no fucking way that if he thinks he can become president, he's going to hold to that just because he loves California and being its governor or whatever. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I did see this. There's a number of different groups, liberal groups, that are trying to fight back against the right-wing takeover of school boards and messing with people and everything. But they're saying that they get a lot less attention and a lot less resources than the right-wing versions, which to that I say, of course. Now, but like, think about it. They're trying to stop books from being banned. They're trying to make it so that, kids feel loved or whatever, like normal stuff that we shouldn't have to fight for, but they apparently have to fight for. The other side spins conspiracy theories about Satanist third grade teachers who are raping your children, and how all fifth graders are now meerkats or something, which is going to get terminally online people more fired up, you think? Come on. You already know the answer to this. They're going to get a lot more attention. And of course, let alone the astroturfing and all that. But I mean, even just legitimate, insane attention. Let's run an experiment, actually. Okay? So there are these, liberal groups or whatever. What if I wanted to start a group? Okay? I've talked previously about wanting to start a nonprofit because I've discovered what is an actual devastating crisis. It's not about fucking kids and litter boxes and stuff. Kids generally don't read. Young boys especially do not read. They simply do not read. They do not write. It's been bad for decades, and it's worse every year. I would love to start an organization that would fight against this, that would encourage young children, but especially young boys, to read and write, because I fear if you don't read, you do not expose yourself to other ways of thinking, other life perspectives. You will grow into young men that have small and curious minds. We're already plagued with men with small and curious minds, and I would love to fight back against that. If I were to start that group, would you like to take part? Retweet a post from it? Donate money? I have a feeling it's probably going to get less support than if I were to tell you that like 1 in 4 young boys is secretly an iguana now, or at least thinks he is. I don't know. Oh yeah, no. There are organizations trying to get people to read. I'm not unique in coming up with this. They're a little bit more the focus on young boys, because that's where there's a bigger issue. Girls are just better at reading. They, I guess, haven't been stigmatized or whatever. But anyway, I would love to form that. So I'm not surprised they're getting less attention. They deserve it. Not necessarily getting it. Okay, let's talk about this proxy war, though. What's going on with Trump and Ron DeSantis? See, Ron DeSantis has now endorsed a candidate, John O'Day, Colorado GOP Senate nominee. Seems like a pretty normal person to endorse. He's doing robocalls. Governor DeSantis is saying America needs strong leadership. I'm endorsing John O'Day for U.S. Senate. Colorado, please vote for John O'Day. You would think this would just be a thing that Republicans would want or whatever. Okay. Well, Trump shared a Washington Examiner piece on Truth Social and wrote, "A big mistake." Why? Why would he be against the Republican candidate? Well, O'Day once said, "I don't think Donald Trump should run again. I'm going to actively campaign against Donald Trump and make sure that we get 4 or 5 really great Republicans right now." So Trump says that O'Day is a rhino because he doesn't support him individually. Hold on. By the way, I love the comments that everyone is sending in about young boys reading. I'm gonna have to go through these afterward because it's hard to keep track as we're doing this. But I definitely agree. Redwall. I mean, one of the reasons I'm writing my own Redwall-inspired fantasy novels is because I want young people, and especially young boys, to read more. In any event, he says he's a rhino. He should don't vote for, MAGA doesn't vote for stupid people with big mouths. That is some grade A fucking projection, Trump. In any event, does he want O'Day to lose? Sure. But you'll notice he's not just reminding people not to vote for O'Day. He's telling people that Ron DeSantis is making a mistake in endorsing this Republican candidate. He didn't have to do that. He could just remind them that I don't like this guy and you shouldn't support him. He's saying, all regular MAGA people, look at how fucking stupid Ron DeSantis is. That he's telling you to be an idiot and support this person who has a big mouth. Now, this is pathetic. Not only pathetic that he's turned against this candidate just because the candidate doesn't like him when he's the only Republican chance of winning that race or whatever. No. It's pathetic because he wants to attack Ron DeSantis. And he'd have you believe that he's super strong, super tough, super bold. He's a man's man. And this is the avenue of attack that he feels comfortable with right now. I'll imply that you're bad because you're saying you should vote for him and I don't like him, so I can criticize him, which then reflects badly on you, but not directly. They can't say that I'm attacking you, and I'm not going to inspire you to attack me, which obviously I'm worried about. And the thing is, it's probably unnecessary. I think that Donald Trump could just nuke Ron DeSantis from orbit and he'd be perfectly fine. But he's not sure of that. I'm more confident of Donald Trump's chances than Donald Trump is at this point. It's still weak. It's still pathetic. This will probably merit some sort of response from Ron DeSantis. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I will be watching. It's going to get more explicit, especially once we get past these midterms. None of them wants to be seen to have potentially hurt any candidate's chances leading directly up to the midterms. But after that, we're going to see. We're going to see. Okay, there's some good Warhammer books. I haven't read many Warhammer books. I haven't. Or Halo, although a guy in my writing group has read a bunch of those. That's awesome, Case. Yes, read to your kids. That whole genre targets 8 to 18 boys and girls, mostly boys. Wait, which genre? Adrian, thank you for that super chat. I'm very appreciative of that. Look, I think a lot of more books are written for young girls, but I think there's a very understandable reason for that. Like, who are publishers going to publish targeting? They're going to target the people that they know read. And if the market shows that girls read and buy way more books, they're going to target that. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And by the way, some of the biggest series that might have overwhelmingly female readership are seemingly targeted at young boys. I mean, Harry Potter is about a boy. A lot of that young adult fantasy is. I mean, increasingly there's a lot that's targeted at women too, but again, it's more read by girls, so it sort of makes sense. But there are books that are targeted towards literally everybody. I don't think it's really about, like, if you want to read a book, they could read. I read fantasy books growing up. You don't even need to read anything in the last 20 years if you don't want to. I think that it's stigma. I think partly it's like, it's difficult for some of this stuff to compare to playing Minecraft or, Raptor Lake. I do need to do that. Or, like, compared to Fortnite. Like, this is exciting stuff, and it's social stuff. The thing is, we need to have kids feel like it is okay to spend a little bit of time just in your own imagination. Not everything has to be collaborative. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know that I'm not suggesting that I have the solutions or anything. I try to write a little bit. But I would love to, I don't know, maybe put the spotlight on some people who have some solutions. Anyway, I'm not launching this group just yet or anything like that, but it is something that I'm thinking about. I spent a lot of time and got a lot of enjoyment reading as I was growing up. I think that it's in large part why I am some of the ways that I am. And so the idea that, like, in 10 years, just no kids would read, I don't like it. I don't like it. Tools? Not really. No, I don't really use many. You like to read books about creating NFTs? Mostly just writing. Not many tools or anything. Scrivener. Anyway, okay, I know some people are talking about House of the Dragon. We are going to be doing a House of the Dragon focused old school tonight. I'm going to be appearing with Brett Ehrlich and Cenk Uygur, and we're going to be responding to the finale of House of the Dragon that was just last night. I did watch it. You can lead a horse to reading, but you can't make him fish. Well, you could at least make the books available. Like, that would be one big part of it. In any event, we'll talk more about that in the future. We're right in the run up to the election. I'm not ready to start any groups or anything like that. But anyway, now the watch list is going live. You can see the intro video is playing. Jared Jackson is about to take off. We're going to see who's going to be joining him on the show. I'm going to be joined by Dan Evans, Dan from the internet himself. He's going to be joining me. We are anticipating, by the way, breaking news live during our show. Supposedly, Merrick Garland and the DOJ are going to be announcing something of national security interest or whatever about a half an hour into our show. So we're going to be watching for that. If it's big, then we're going to be responding live. But that is in about 1 hour. For now, though, you can go to twitch.tv/TYT, youtube.com/watchlist_TYT to catch Jared Jackson and Jessica Burbank live. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to miss it. Oh, they might be talking about DeSantis and Trump, too. Ooh, how exciting. Anyway, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already. I will see you in 55 minutes. Go get yourself a coffee. I know I'm going to, and I'll see you then.